I like math and science. And I'm going to be majoring in mechanical engineering at Northwestern next year.
Fancy!
I really like music, and I can play the flute and the piano. And to demonstrate that I like music, on my bucket list is to be able to write a song sometime in the future. I like to dance, and I like to play video games on the computer. I have a little brother. He's going to be a junior next year at Whitney Young, but he's actually not here today. So yeah, that's just a small general idea about me. Now jumping back to my past, I grew up going to church every single Sunday. Well, not every single Sunday, because I really did not like going to church. And sometimes I would fake stomach aches. I would tell my parents, no, I'm too sick to leave. Or I would pretend not to wake up when my dad's like, get up, Cindy, it's time to go to church. And I would just not get up, and they would leave, and then I had the whole day to myself. And it was because something about church was so boring to me at that time. We always did the same things. It was routine. It was kind of like a sixth day of school for me. And so in elementary school, even though I did not really like church, I still call myself a Christian because I did go to church pretty often, like routinely, and I didn't say I was a Christian because I believed. And then as years passed in elementary school, I started becoming independent in how I thought, and I was responsible for my own homework. I was finding and answering my own questions, and that's when I started to have doubts about Christianity, because I was starting to think about for myself, and like I said, I was trying to answer my own questions, but there was this one big question that I just could not answer to myself, and that's, was God real? And I guess another question would be, if God is real, if he exists, then why is it the God of Christianity, the God that I learned about at church, why is he the real one? Because there are obviously so many other religions out there that are still standing right now, and so there must have been some reason that they're still standing. And so I just could not answer for myself these questions, which really just fueled my doubt for Christianity as a whole. And even though I still had these doubts, I continued to be a good kid. Just to be a good kid, I guess. I don't know. I never found any motivation to be bad. I still do bad things sometimes. Okay. Fast forwarding to 8th grade. One day in 8th grade, well, actually, first of all, in 8th grade, I joined clubs like AAC, and AAC doesn't meet until after the high schoolers are out, but as an 8th grader, I got out 7th period, so I had to wait 8th and 9th period until other people got out to have the meeting. And so in 8th grade, this one December day, I was trying to find a computer to kill time or try to do homework for these 2 hours. And so I go to the tech lab, where everyone goes to find a computer, and it's all full. And so I go to the library, which is your second choice, because the computers there are one grade below. And I go in there and I find the computer, and I get on and I try logging in, and I find out that I can't log into this computer, something about the server, so I'm like, okay, let's just move on to the next computer. So I go around and I find another computer, I get on, and I realize the mouse isn't working, and so it's like, oh, okay, I have 2 computers, it's okay. I go to the next one, and I can't do the Control-Alt-Delete thing, it just doesn't register. And so I was like, all right. And so I decided to wander around the library to find another computer besides in that area. And I do find one, and I log in, and it is successful. I get it. However, my library is sometimes known for being really hot, and so that one day, for some reason, after I get into this fourth computer, I decide, this library is way too hot to be in. And so I was like, I can't stay in here. And so right after I get in, I log back out and I leave the library. That year, our school's Bible club, CCUC, their bulletin board is right outside the library exit. And so as soon as I exit the library, I see that bulletin board. And I don't know, for some reason that day, I saw it and I was like, I'm not doing anything today. I'm going to go do a quiet time. And if you don't know what quiet times are, they are like another word for it is devotionals. And I learned about them at junior camp, which is a summer camp for 1 week in August, that I did for summers prior to this. And I don't know why I came up with it. Oh, yeah, and quiet times is when Christians spend time with God. So just like you would spend time with a friend to get to know them better, Christians would pray or read the Bible or just play music, sing, whatever they wanted to do to get closer to God. And so I decided to do this at school, which is really odd for that time because I never did quiet times at that time, especially not at school. And so for some reason I did. I went to Greenhouse, one of the lunchrooms, and I sat down and I didn't have a Bible with me. I don't carry my Bible to school. And I didn't have like a smartphone or anything. And I took out an index card and I just started writing on it. I guess I just started writing a song on there. I guess because I've always wanted to write one. I was trying to like write it and have my quiet time doing it that way. And soon some friends showed up and started talking to me, and so I put it away, and that was that. And then that day when I got home, that same exact day, after dinner, something happened in my life that I'm not going to go into today, the details, but it was something that I had not anticipated at all. Although, no, actually, I did anticipate it, but then at the same time, I thought it would never happen to me. So when it did happen, I was really confused and uncertain. I felt like because I was anticipating it, I thought, if this happens to me and when it happens to me, I will feel like this blow of emotions and I just can't handle it. But for some reason, that didn't happen. Like, I actually felt like nothing, or at least I don't remember feeling anything. I just felt like I had no emotions, and I was just so confused. Like, shouldn't this like stab me or something like that? And I felt nothing, and I don't know if maybe I was confused that I felt nothing, or I felt nothing so I was confused. But it was just a whole shroud of confusement, and I did not know what to do, and I didn't know what the future looked like. And so I go on to GChat for some comfort. I like to chat on Gmail a lot, and I still do that now. And I see Karen, one of my former junior camp counselors, actually from that summer, online. And I chatted with her, and I told her the situation. And she helped me by reminding me that God is with me, and that there are a lot of things that would show that. And she made me like list out a list of things I was thankful for, and just to prove to me that God is by my side. And eventually, after some talking, she asked me something that you would always ask your friend, I guess, how was your day? And I thought back, and I was like, wait a minute, like, I had I had an abnormal day. And, I was thinking back, the computers and the quiet time that never usually happens. So I was just like formulating this and like slowly realizing this, and I rushed to my backpack to go find that index card that I was writing on. And I find it, and I still have it. It's right here. And it reads, this God of mine is amazing. He knows when to show me things. He helps me through my troubled times. He is amazing. This God of mine can help me through. He tells me which path I should choose. He teaches me how to be someone just like him. And it seems simple, but as soon as I read it, I just felt like this rush of peace. And I think it's like God's peace, because the words were so applicable to me. Especially like the line, "He helps me through my troubled times," because I was going through a troubled time then, and I read this. But it wasn't like Karen telling me, "He helps you through your troubled times." It's me telling myself that, because I was the one that wrote this card. And so it was kind of like me in the past, writing this time capsule to myself for the future, thinking that I would need it in the future, but I didn't know it would happen. And so it was just, and then on top of that, the 4 computers that allowed me to, I guess, somehow make the decision to even write this index card. All of that in one day, and then finally, this big moment in my life that I never thought would have happened, but then again, I saw it coming. I don't know, it was really confusing, and I just didn't know that, all of these events could happen just on one day. And being the math geek that I am, I tried to calculate the probability of it, like, what is it's just like, this is impossible, I was saying to myself, and so like, I told myself, there's no way this could be a coincidence. And so that's how, to me, I realized that, for me, this is showing me that it was planned by God, because it showed me, God existed, because I'm writing about God in this card, right? And it's what was able to, I guess, lift me out of this time. It was able to comfort me. And so, if the subject of this card is about God, and it's the one that called me, why, it just showed me, God is real, He does exist, and it has to be the God that I learned about at church here. That's the correct God, not any other religion, because that's the one I wrote about. And like, if God existed, He would not tell me to go write about some other God, So like, just all this reasoning that happened in my mind, it's just this one event showed me that it just kind of knocked that doubt of mine away, and just made it trivial. And I became much more alert to God at this point. This is when, I guess you can consider, I became a Christian, because I started believing on my own. And even though at that point, I knew like little theology, like none at all. And if someone came up to me and started attacking me about my faith, I probably would have like crinkled up. But even so, I knew one thing, and I knew that God existed, and that He cared for me personally to be able to make this event happen in my own life, not someone else's life, but my life. And so it showed me these things, and it was just enough motivation for me to keep learning about this God, to be interested in God, and to seek Him, and to go to church, and to learn more about Him. And so at this point is when I started, growing as a Christian. I started to pray to Him personally. And I also started to notice in my life, as I opened my eyes to Him and I knew that He existed in the back of my mind, I started to see Him in my surroundings, in my environment. I really like math again, music and science, and so I learned about a lot of math. And one thing I learned is mathematicians are really stingy, and nothing is true until you prove it true, like to the pulp. And every single loophole is proven, so that you can say this theorem is true. And so, even so, there are so many theorems in math. And all the theorems proven true have not contradicted with each other. And also, music, it's able to change your emotions. Imagine a scary movie without scary music. It's just nothing, really. The sound, for some reason, makes you scary. And, or science, I thought I would hate bio. I took AP bio last year, but I decided, it turned out I really loved it. I learned a lot about, the biology systems and like systems of life and everything. And I just learned how like they work together so well, and like even my teacher said, like, everything works well, like, it works, you know? And, you know, knowing in my heart that God is real, I see these things as proof that he made those things, because I can't say that any of these things fell into place perfectly at random chance. And so I think looking at these things helps me with my faith. And I see, you know, how I guess real God is. And on top of that, I also notice how smart God is. If you told me to go create a subject called math and have everything work together with numbers and imaginary numbers and everything, I just couldn't do it. I don't think anyone could do that. It takes someone who, you know, can see so far beyond anything else to be able to make a system that works together and not be able to contradict each other, and also to be explainable. You know, everything we know about is explainable, or we are seeking an explanation for it, knowing that it's explainable, and so that also contributed to how I've changed since this event happened. You know, I can see God in so many things that I learn, and even though I always like learning, you can call me a nerd, but I always like finding out fun facts and new things, and now I have, you know, another motivation to learn more, because it just knowing, like, I want to know more cool things that, like, it's like, wow, just so cool. I don't know, and I don't know, it makes me so happy when I can credit that to God, someone that I believe in personally. And another thing is my optimism. A lot of you probably know me as, like, the happy person, the person who's always, you know, optimistic, or just, you know, and I think this event in my life is definitely something that contributed to that, or, you know, is responsible for that as a whole. Because, you know, the thing that happened in my life was really confusing to handle, and it was really frustrating and hard. And it wasn't even that moment, you know. I saw it coming, and yet again I didn't see it coming, but that was because, you know, it was a buildup of so many experiences that just, it was really hard to handle. And however, you know, even though I didn't know what to do at that point, after it all happened, after I look back and see what has happened as a whole picture, I see that as a result, I've gotten so much closer to God, and I've learned so many more things. I've been able to change my viewpoint about things, and all the pieces fit together. I think back to the experience. You know, if I didn't go to find a computer, you know, I would not see this day as significant as it is, because, you know, the more specific things that doesn't happen in that one day, the more I think it's impossible by math. And so it's just like these little pieces that happen. Like, if it didn't happen, it would not have brought such a result. And so I saw how, like, perfectly all the pieces fit together, and I think this is illustrated in the Bible in one verse from the book of James, chapter 1, verse 2 to 3. It says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." And so I see this verse, and I think it illustrates, I guess, where my optimism comes from. It's just, even though I don't love going through hardships, or, you know, the hardships are hard, but now when I have hard times, you know, I still have that hope during those times, because I know that God will produce a good result at the end. He will teach me things. Every single thing that happens to me is going to be part of that bigger puzzle. And I think through frustrating times in the future, and even after this event happened, I tell myself, I will learn from this, and afterwards I will become stronger. And that's I guess where my optimism comes from. The knowledge that God is working in my life, and I can trust in Him to put all the pieces together, and I know that anything that happens to me is part of that bigger puzzle. And so I also know that it's not just any generic puzzle, but it's one that He customized just for me because of the way I think, the way what I like to do. He just puts all things together and just customized for me, and everything just turns out good. And so from my own experiences and all the other testimonies I've heard from baptisms or friends giving me anecdotes, or here at Chaos during this series and during the past year's series, I hear all these testimonies, and I know that God is good, and I trust in Him to just work in my life, because all these are testimonies are just proof that He is He just knows what He's doing in every person's life, no matter how different they are from each other. I also know He's there, He exists, and He's the one that exists. He cares for me. He has this personal plan for me. He is powerful. Again, with the creation and just everything that He's done, or the ability to manage each and every person's life. And he knows exactly what He's doing, and so I like the song that we sang earlier in the circle, His banner. I think it says it very completely. He does all things well. Just look at our lives. And I hope that when you guys have hard times, don't lose hope, because it will be fruitful in the end. You will learn things in the end, and everything is just part of that bigger picture. And you will come out a stronger person as long as you don't let that hardship consume you, and you just trust in God, and you know that He's in control. And even after hardship has passed, don't expect it to be gone completely, because mine definitely reoccurs in my life, even now, even yesterday, and even so, it's not that God can't take it away. It's just His goal is you're changing your character, and so He's just gonna do what He knows will work on you best. And you just have to have the right attitude and have faith in Him. And so, yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. If you guys have questions for Cindy about more of her testimony, you can definitely talk to her more about it. At this time, let's just close in prayer and just thank the Lord of what He's been doing.